tonight. One day until American voters head to the polls.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so much fun.
I see a nation determined to turn the page on hatred and division and chart a new way forward.
The final push from the presidential hopefuls before Election Day. Plus, as the IDF fights Hamas in Gaza.
Simply put, enforcement, and cutting off Hezbollah's pipeline from Iran through Syria.
The ongoing push to bring stability to northern Israel. And the latest on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
It's down to the wire tonight as the nation braces for Election Day just hours away. Good evening in Virginia Beach. I'm John Jessup.
And from the nation's capital, I'm Jenna Browder. The final sprint to the White House is taking both campaigns to battleground America.
While tens of millions of Americans have already voted early, Vice President Kamala Harris is racing through Pennsylvania, drumming up support and hoping to win over undecided voters. CBN's Michelle London has been tracking her last stops and joins us now. Michelle, Vice President making a lot of moves.
Yeah, John, before the day is over, Vice President Harris plans to make 5 total stops across the Keystone State. The goal, 19 electoral votes, which could be the difference in the race for president. In casting a campaign net across the state, Vice President Harris is focusing on working-class areas like Allentown, before wrapping up a late night with 2 major rallies in the big cities of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Over the weekend, Harris swept through Michigan, another key battleground.
Make sure you fill out your ballot. I did mine. I'm going to put it in the mail.
After taking a moment to cast her own ballot by mail, she headed to Black-owned businesses and churches in Michigan to sound an optimistic tone, embracing politics of joy, along with her campaign theme of freedom.
But joy cometh in the morning, and church morning is on its way.
While making no mention of former President Trump, Harris opened her East Lansing rally with a pledge to end more than a year of war in the Middle East, following the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel.
As president, I will do everything in my power to end the war in Gaza, to bring home the hostages, end the suffering in Gaza, ensure Israel is secure, and ensure the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, freedom, security, and self-determination.
Nearing the finish line, the race remains close and uncertain. Another national poll, this one from NBC News, revealing both Harris and Trump statistically tied at 49%. With about 77 million Americans already casting their ballots early, the election is likely to be decided across 7 states, including Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and newly emerging North Carolina, a state where Trump has won twice. After releasing new ads during Sunday Night Football, Harris's team has projected confidence, pointing to a large gender gap in early voting and late deciding voters. And while the Harris campaign considers itself to be an underdog, there's also confidence in their strategy. This weekend, the campaign reports it had more than 90,000 volunteers helping turn out voters, knocking on more than 3 million doors across the battleground states. John, Jenna.
All right, CBN's Michelle London. Thank you so much, Michelle. Well, meanwhile, Donald Trump is also racking up the miles, campaigning in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan.
Yeah, and tomorrow night he'll be watching the results from his Mar-a-Lago home and private club in West Palm Beach, Florida. And that's where we find Tara Merchner tonight. Tara, what does Trump's final push look like?
Yeah, well, Jenna, this could be Trump's final campaign, and he is not letting up. As we've mentioned, he's been through several states today where the races are simply too close to call, and then tomorrow he heads home to Mar-a-Lago, and this whole thing will unfold. Let's take a look at the home stretch. There are 4 campaign rallies today. They started in Raleigh, North Carolina, 2 stops in Pennsylvania, Reading and Pittsburgh, and then he concludes in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with a a late-night event, as he has in previous campaigns. Both Pennsylvania and Michigan are considered Democrat blue walls, but Trump is still trying to pull ahead. North Carolina is also key, as is Georgia.
After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. You watch. It's going to be so good. We're going to go to heights that this country never has reached, and nobody ever even thought it could. You're going to see things that you're not going to believe.
Meanwhile, enthusiasm is very high here in Florida. Supporters feeling both a mix of excitement and nervousness. They believe Trump will fix everything from the economy to immigration. While many look forward to a second term, others worry what will happen if he doesn't win. The crowd expects an emotional night full of unity and, they hope, celebration.
Let's move forward and make this world better for everybody.
Make sure you have your voice heard, and if you want a better America, make sure you vote for Trump.
We need to put a stop to all this giving out money, you know? I mean, we're cashing ourselves out, you know, something has to be done.
And as these results pour in, certainly every vote counts at this point. John and Jenna, certainly this is a key moment in American history, even though we may not know the outcome, if this is close as they say it is tomorrow night.
All right, Tara, thank you very much. And with that, let's bring in CBN News Chief Political Analyst David Brody. David, this truly does feel like it's anybody's race. What's your sense tonight on where things stand?
Too close to call. That's the bottom line. And now we wait for turnout, Jenna and John. In essence, what will those likely voters do? Because by Wednesday, they will be certain voters. They will move into the certain category. But look, there are a couple different paths. So one of them is pretty clear for Kamala Harris. She's got to have to win the Rust Belt states, all 3 of them. If she does, guys, she gets to 270. That's it. We can all go home and get in our pajamas. I don't think that's happening, by the way. And I don't think we're going to be having in our pajamas by 9 o'clock tomorrow night. As a matter of fact, this could go on for quite some time.
David, what will you be watching for tomorrow night? Any early indicators that could give us a sense of where things might be headed?
Well, John, I'm so glad you asked me that question, because now I get to play with toys. And that's what we're going to do. Let's do that as I put on my reading glasses, because who knows if I don't, who knows where we're going. But let's go ahead and take a look at the big map here. This is what we will be doing tomorrow night. There's Wisconsin. I mean, there's so many counties to go to, but let's go to Wisconsin, shall we? And I'll just click open there. And let's go down to Milwaukee. Okay, so Milwaukee is obviously an area where Kamala Harris has to do well with black voters. But look at these 3 counties around Milwaukee. Waukesha, you've got Washington County, and Ozaukee County, excuse me. All 3 of them are key counties. They're called the WOW counties. Waukesha, Ozaukee, and Washington spells wow. What do you know? Those 3 counties are important because Trump did well in the suburbs of Milwaukee. Kamala Harris actually has to dent that number in the suburbs. She's got to get that number a little bit lower in terms of the point differential, the vote differential. Let's go now down to, well, let's choose it. Let's just say, let's go Georgia, shall we? And down in Georgia, you've got the Atlanta suburbs right here. Let's just go down a little bit. In Atlanta, there's Fulton County. That's where Atlanta is. There's all these suburbs around Atlanta. Cobb County, Fulton County, as we told you about. You've got Gwinnett County. You've got DeKalb and Clayton. All of those counties, John and Jenna, are going to be key for Kamala Harris. Why? Because that is where predominantly she's going to pick up most of her votes in the state, specifically as it relates to black voters. She's got to make sure she does just as well as Biden, if not better, down in that area.
You know, David, there's a lot of talk about the gender gap. The Harris campaign needs to drive out women. The Trump campaign needs men. What other themes, though, are you anticipating we might be talking about tomorrow as we start to see results come in?
Well, one of the things I'm looking at to see specifically is that Gen Z group. That's a plus 24 for Biden in 2020. Let's see how Kamala Harris does. Hopefully, according to the Trump campaign, they're hoping that Donald Trump does better there. Also, of course, as we talked about, the black and Hispanic vote. Look, Joe Biden won the black vote by a plus 75 differential in 2020. He won Hispanics by 33 points over Donald Trump. I'm going to be looking at those two key groups as we go towards election night. And let me tell you this, as it relates to Pennsylvania, can I use the tool one more time? Why not, right? I mean, we have it here, so let's do that. Let's click on Pennsylvania. And if we click on Pennsylvania, look at right over here. You've got, see about Philadelphia is here, but if you go a little west of Philly, there's Berks County specifically. They called this Berks County all the way up till about, here it is, just get it right here. Berks County all the way up to about Allentown. Up there, you've got the 222 corridor. That's the north corridor, basically west of Philadelphia. That's where a lot of Hispanic voters are. It's that basically from Reading, Pennsylvania, and Berks County up towards Allentown. And that's going to be key because you've got Route 222. That's why they call it the 222 corridor. How will Hispanics vote? That could turn the election in Pennsylvania, and ultimately it could turn the election for either Harris or Trump.
All right, David, thank you. Looking forward to tomorrow night and the coverage.
Same here.
Well, more than 76 million Americans have already cast their ballots as 2024 sees record-breaking early voting.
And reports indicate both parties are taking advantage of the opportunity. CBN's Brody Carter has the story.
Early voting is surging nationwide, already accounting for roughly 40% of the total votes cast in 2020.
So we're seeing an increase in early voting. 2020, we had 74,000 vote early in person. We're going to break that number. We have about 65,000 right now.
Key states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona are seeing unprecedented early voting numbers. Nearly 3.3 million Georgians have already cast their ballots. Early turnout this year also shows a notable shift with Republican voters.
6 days from now, we can turn the page forever on this failed and corrupt administration.
After previously discouraging it, Donald Trump now urges supporters to vote early, and party leaders are seeing the difference.
First of all, we've been advertising, we've been encouraging, and they are responding. And second of all, they're fed up. That's the motivation. They want to see the country turn around, go in another direction.
Republicans hope to improve turnout and avoid mechanical issues that some believe hindered key races in 2020.
As a past election official, we have one of the best staff and processes in place to keep and prevent those things from happening.
Meanwhile, Democrats are working to sustain their pandemic-era momentum in early voting. In Pennsylvania, for example, Democrat mail-in ballots outnumber Republican returns by over 350,000.
I think what's most important about early voting is that regardless of where you may align politically, that you exercise your right to vote in this country. And your right to early vote reinforces how strong our democracy is and sets an example for the world.
Still, with talk of election integrity concerns continuing, some GOP-led states have introduced stronger ID requirements.
Well, we can't really talk about security plans because then they won't be secure.
With early turnout numbers likely to climb, the message is clear. Voters on both sides are determined to make their voices heard. Reporting in Virginia Beach, Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Brody. Coming up, Israel braces for an Iran strike. The latest on the war in the Middle East when Faith Nation returns.
Welcome back. Iran reportedly is planning to use powerful warheads and other weapons in a potential attack against Israel.
The Islamic Republic is vowing to punish the Jewish state for recent airstrikes that destroyed its air defenses and missile production capabilities. According to the Wall Street Journal, a potential attack could come as early as this week. At the same time, Iran's president says a potential ceasefire between Israel and its allies, Hamas and Hezbollah, could affect the intensity of Tehran's response. Israel says it will continue to go after Iranian proxies.
Iran is trying to harm Israel. It starts from Gaza and through Lebanon and continues to Yemen and Iraq and other places. And in all of those places, we are stopping and striking them.
Meanwhile, a major investigation is underway in Israel tonight over the suspected leak of classified Gaza intelligence. It allegedly involves an aide of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. An Israeli court says the leak compromised security sources and could have hurt efforts to free hostages. Netanyahu has denied any wrongdoing.
And now to the war in Ukraine. South Korea and the European Union are demanding North Korean troops withdraw from Russia. The The United States says about 8,000 North Korean soldiers are preparing to join the fight against Ukraine. The EU and South Korea are trying to stop the war from expanding to the Pacific.
The deepening military cooperation between North Korea and Russia poses a serious threat to the security of Europe, in the Pacific, and indeed the world at large.
Seoul believes Pyongyang has sent 10,000 to 12,000 troops to Russia and is concerned Moscow will reward the North with enhanced technology for its nuclear and missile programs.
Well, Washington believes North Korean troops could join the battlefield in a matter of days.
And that poses major questions about global stability. CBN's Gary Lane has a story.
The presence of North Korea troops in Ukraine came as no surprise to national security analyst Brandon Weichert. Do we know for certain that the North Korean troops are there, and is this an escalation?
Absolutely, they're there, and in fact, they're not the only nation that has troops in the war on both sides.
Weichert is author of A Disaster of Our Own Making, How the West Lost Ukraine.
There are multiple foreign actors fighting each other. It's a proxy war, and so this is just the latest escalation.
And a move the U.S. government sees as a desperate act by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
This is an indication that he may be even in more trouble than most people realize.
That he has to farm out the fighting to a foreign country, I think, speaks volumes about how much his military is suffering and how uncertain he believes, how untenable he believes his situation is.
Putin is still going all out in his effort to defeat Ukraine. The Russian Duma has approved record defense spending of $145 billion for next year, equaling a third of the country's total budget. Additionally, Russian lawmakers have ratified the Strategic Partnership Treaty signed by Putin and Kim Jong-un last June. It commits both countries to provide immediate military assistance to each other. So what might North Korea receive for helping Putin in Ukraine?
Well, they likely gave him more weapons technology. The North Koreans have wanted to get more and more access to greater levels of sophisticated weapons systems. So I'm sure on some level they are engaging in some kind of trade, maybe over hypersonic weapon development.
Armed with nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, North Korea poses a threat to both American allies in East Asia and the United States itself. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol says North Korea's military presence in Ukraine could lead his country to provide lethal support in the fight against Russia. Former British Prime Minister David Cameron has suggested that Indian Prime Minister Modi, a Putin ally, could be a potential negotiator in peace talks. Weichert warns that an effort should be pursued by the West before it's too late.
I think anything that ends the war as quickly and peacefully as possible is what we need. The Ukrainian war has become an insuperable wound in the international body, and it's going to lead, if we're not careful, to World War III.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Thank you, Gary. Up next, a rising star in bluegrass is putting her faith in the spotlight.
Welcome back. An estimated 20 million Americans are fans of bluegrass music.
That's right. And while this mountain genre traces back to Scottish-American immigrants, its melodies are still reaching younger generations. CBN's Lori Johnson introduces us to one rising star who credits God for her success.
At just 10 years old, Carly Arrowwood fell in love with the fiddle. Now, at age 28, she's considered one of the best bluegrass fiddlers around.
I feel it going home, coming on.
Carly has also earned the Triple Threat title, recognizing her as an outstanding musician, singer, and songwriter, while already racking up numerous awards in her young career.
I'm very blessed. Just right out the gate, it's like all of these, I don't know, accomplishments and things that I've been able to do through the years is just a testament to the Lord's faithfulness.
She and her band play various forms of bluegrass, including Christian.
Bluegrass gospel is pretty popular throughout the bluegrass music scene. You know, we're very passionate about our gospel music, and it's important for us to, you know, let people know that the Lord loves them and that He calls them out of their sin, and into the right way to live, and that's to glorify Jesus and know that he died for their sins.
She's part of a new generation.
We are blessed to have a lot of friends our age in it that are also believers and are also, passionate about it like we are.
Carly and her band play instruments made by Christian craftsmen, like this Hooper guitar. They all have 1 Corinthians 10:31 engraved on the neck block. Do all to the glory of God.
Carly plays a fiddle fashioned by Bob Kogut, who prays over each instrument that it will be used to further the kingdom of God.
I guess that's why I got the fiddle.
Carly's songwriting reflects her faith walk.
When you're saved, he calls you and you're his, and he chooses you and you're his forever.
Carly hopes fans worldwide will hear that message in both her live performances and recordings.
I pray that whoever listens to it, whether they're our age or younger or older, that it comes across and that it pierces their hearts, or that the Lord pierces their hearts with it.
And while that remains her primary focus, Carly does have her eyes on a secondary goal.
It'd be nice to play the Opry one day. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It's just whatever the Lord decides.
So remember the name and faith of Carly Arrowwood as more people discover this rising bluegrass sensation. Lori Johnson, CBN News, Newton, North Carolina.
Thank you, Lori. And coming up, a reminder that God is in the details. Next on Faith Nation. Finally tonight, a fun run in honor of National Adoption Month.
The winner of an inaugural 5K 1-mile run for an Arkansas nonprofit had an important message to share. Organized by Project Zero and the Arkansas Division of Children and Family Services, hundreds of runners participated in the Chasing Zero run in Little Rock. The race is aimed at raising awareness for kids awaiting adoption. A 14-year-old named Emma came in first place. Her mom revealed that Emma was adopted from foster care. A detail Project Zero says affirms God is at work. Jenna, I don't think you could have scripted it any better.
That's a great note to end it on, John.
Thanks for watching.